Hi, everyone. Okay, so welcome everybody to the first Brisbane Atlassian community event. We haven't had one since 2019, so it's been a little while. So I know some of you would have probably come to one of our previous events. So thanks for coming back and showing your support. We're going to be doing a lot more of these. So I'm Nadia. I'm the growth and marketing specialist at Strategenics. But for today, I'm mostly going to be behind the scenes, and I'm going to just make sure and help our speakers run everything smoothly. And in case you can't tell, me and our two speakers were actually in 3 different remote locations today. So that's really fitting, I think, for our topic and our theme for today. And now I'm going to go on mute and pass you over to Ash.
Cool. Thanks, Nadia, for that. And welcome again, everyone. Okay. Assuming you've all read the agenda, but for those who haven't, we'll have 2 informative sessions and a quick update on some cool new stuff coming down the path from Atlassian, and then a spot of QA. Chris will explain how our team began our remote collaboration journey back before COVID and lockdowns, and highlight how Atlassian has helped make this an easy process for our team. I'll then take you through how you can use Jira automations to reduce human touch points to make things run smoother, which will help reduce the cost of support while increasing overall transparency. I'll then, just go and show you some cool things Atlassian launched at their Team 21 event earlier this year, some of which we think are game changers. As Nadia mentioned earlier, we'll have that Q&A session where you're invited to directly ask questions as well. So just a quick introduction to the speakers today. So myself, I've been using Jira since 2012 in Scrum Master and product roles in startup and corporate environments. In my role now at Strategenics, I help our customers get the most out of their Atlassian product suites. So I get to work with those products every day, which is pretty sweet. Now I'll pass you over to Chris, who will take us in, who'll introduce himself and take us into the next topic.
So my name is Chris Mills. I'm the founder and managing director of Strategenics, and over the last 20 years been leading product teams in data science, data analytics, software development, managed services. We've been having a great time, and I just want to share some of our experiences over the last 10 years at Atlassian. So just a bit of background around Strategenics. So we've been in based on our name, Strategenics, we've been in the digital strategy business for a long time. Strategy and advisory, we build a lot of software products, data science analytics work, advanced tech, AI, ML. But we also provide cloud managed services. So there's quite a wide variety of services we provide, from concept to delivery to operating. We've worked with a lot of corporate and government customers for many years, so a lot of expectations around high quality services and a lot of rigor around how we deliver. But we've had a very diverse team, so diverse in skills, people ranging from strategy, data science, data analytics, AI, ML, machine learning operations, software development. We're an AWS advanced partner, so everything we do is on AWS as far as our managed services go. Do a lot of DevOps. We obviously, the tools of our trade for a long time, which I'll get to soon, is all around Atlassian. So we use all the Atlassian suite. We have marketing, sales teams, project management, product management. So a really diverse set of skills and experiences. But our team is also located in lots of different places, mostly in Queensland, but have been in New South Wales and beyond. And we've got a very, I guess we've also had not just the multidiscipline and the multi-locational problem, we've also had a multi-generational challenge to deal with as well. We've had people from different generations that are having to communicate with each other. So collaboration or team collaboration has been a big problem we've had to solve. And not just within our own Strategenics teams, but how do we actually collaborate with our customers who are also have different disciplines, different skill set, different generations. So this is where Atlassian has been, I guess, our secret sauce for a very long time. We believe that they've got the right products and they embed the right practices for our team. They have the right products that help us succeed, and certainly for our customers, when we've been delivering software products or managed services or any data science or decision support systems for our customers, we've embedded an Atlassian solution within that project delivery and also in the operations. But the question that we've been asking ourselves over the last 10 years, which has been quite interesting, is to cloud or not to cloud? And 10 years ago, when we were setting up Strategics, it was longer than that now, we had a lot of influences. Cloud was growing to become big, and we had some strategic choices to make of whether we do on-prem or we go cloud. I was a strong advocate on cloud based on some work we've done benchmarking on-prem versus cloud as far as costs go, and cloud won hands down. But as far as our internal operations of Strategics, there were a lot of influences within our team who are like, just really wanted to buy a few servers, wanted to install it in one of our offices because we have a couple of those. And it's nice when you unpackage the kit and you start, setting it up, and on a cost basis, sometimes it can be cheaper when you just consider the kit itself versus a cloud tech. But certainly that was not my experience. Is cloud, on-prem can be a lot more expensive when it comes to ongoing costs, maintenance, setup, and just the skills required to manage on-prem tech. But the biggest benefit of cloud, though, is actually business continuity. And I think everyone's has been talking about over the last 12 months with COVID, but we actually lived a real life situation back in 2019. So if we wind back to when we last were running the Atlassian user group in Brisbane, our Brisbane office is based right next to the Port Office Hotel. And this is a real picture here of the Port Office Hotel. Back in January 2019, and they had a very large kitchen fire, which actually knocked out the whole restaurant and hotel. It also caused a significant amount of smoke damage in our office. We had to evacuate that day. And the renovation or the restoration process for that whole building was quite extensive. The whole air conditioning system had to be rebuilt. We had tradies that were hammering, drilling on our roof for 10 months. There was paint fumes. It was just a nightmare to work in our office for most of 2019. So we had a forced decision in 2019 to actually work off-site and have our team all work remotely from home or on customer sites. And we got into the groove very easily. And the bedrock of our ability to work together collaboratively was using our tools within Atlassian. From that, ironically, we got back into the office in January 2020 and probably had about a month or 6 weeks in the office, and then COVID happened. So it was very easy for us to actually roll back into our way of working and operating. It would have been very difficult for us if we had on-premise systems, but everything running in the cloud, it was just too easy for us. So what products do we use from Atlassian? Well, Jira software, we've been using that for many years with all our software products delivery, for our managed services, for our building our decision support systems for our customers and for ourselves. We use Jira Core for any business workflow projects, particularly with our customers, also internal. But some of our customers just aren't ready for capturing their information or collaborating in the way that I guess people have been using Atlassian and Jira for a long time. So for those customers who are just emailing things around, know there's a better way, we generally onboard them to Trello to coordinate any high-level customer business projects. It's a very easy way to get them on using some cloud solution. And I know Ash has done some very sophisticated stuff on Trello, so there's some difficult decisions sometimes to decide whether or not you're going to use Trello or even Jira Core. And we've been using Jira Jira Service Management, sorry, for a lot of our customers and product support. We also use it for internal HR and finance approval workflows, so all our leave requests and procurement requests and so forth. And Confluence has been a bedrock for us for collaborating on requirements, meeting notes, all sorts of documentation, really. We do use more than just the Atlassian products, but the Atlassian products are great for integrating a range of teams or multiple discipline teams that don't normally work together, whether it's dev teams and IT teams, marketing with the support teams, finance and sales teams. Very good for being able to communicate and collaborate across a value chain. As I was saying, we use more than just the Atlassian products. And one thing that's really great about Atlassian is they are open. It's very easy to integrate. And we do integrate our Atlassian products with other tools we use. So we use Mattermost for our internal team chat on an hourly, minutely sort of basis. And we embed that into Jira. And so we've got this a great collaboration tool suite that is very cost effective, all in the cloud, and has been really the secret of our success. So I might hand back to my colleague Ash, because I know Ash has got some demos up his sleeve very shortly.
So here we go. So leveraging Jira automation to reduce the cost of transparency. So as mentioned, I'll be demonstrating how you can leverage automation to remove manual processes between tech support teams using Jira Service Management and software development teams using Jira software, just to remove some manual processes, but also keep customers informed. So the scenario that I'm going to go through today is kind of a standard one where someone has an issue and they raise it with tech support. So they'll generally create a tech support issue. Person on the other side will go, I'll look at that. And then they raise it as a bug. So when they raise it as a bug, that'll then go through to a developer to fix that. The developer will normally code that. Now in this scenario, we have a release manager, and they're the people who will push the button to allow the software to go out to the world. So kind of like if you've got, an app update or those kind of things, that's generally, one example of what they can do. So then this process would be the software's release, goes back to the tech support or customer support person to say, hey, it's all done. And then the customer's notified, and then they can have a tea. So here are the products that we'll be going through, as mentioned earlier, Jira Service Management and Jira Software. And this is highlighting which software is used as part of those journeys. Now, one thing to call out as well is that the actual workflows between two of the products are quite different. So on the left is very much a customer support driven workflow. The other is a very simple software development workflow. But what we're going to do is we're going to have these two humming together so it can go through the journey there. So by doing that, we're going to use some out of the box functionality in Jira called automation. And this is the processes that we'll show you. And I'm just highlighting these, but I've put a few more in because I'm lazy and I don't want to do more manual work. But the first bit is around informing people when it's escalated. So a customer can get a notification when basically that's being escalated to a developer to wait for them to work on it. Now, for all of those kind of things, when there's a bug, it may not be critical, it may be critical, it may be not so critical. Either way, what we can do is we can hook that up that when it moves into progress, it can send the notification there as well. Then what we can also do is have an automation rule in place when it's when you actually are the release manager and you release the version within Jira, that will update any ticket, any Jira issues that are associated with that and close them all out. And then finally, we can set that up as well that it can automatically notify the customer, say, hey, this is being fixed and this is being fixed in the most recent version. So that way it actually makes everyone's job easier. Thinking about it with automatically using the software is going to save you so much more time than opposed to just going back and forward with emails. But using the software combined with automation is going to save a whole heap. And this is just a little bit of what can be done. So the automation touch points, as mentioned, these will be all 4 ones that I'll demonstrate and where they go. So I'll go into a live demo. But because for those who know me, I do like my comic books. And so in this scenario, we are going to have the Hall of Justice being our Jira Service Management portal, and the Batcave being where all the stuff happens. Now, for those who do know the difference between Marvel and DC, I have put Wade Wilson there as a person who's going to raise the issue, purely because this is the DC world. Wade Wilson / Deadpool, he can't solve it. It upsets me because he's my favorite character, but I'm also the one that put this scenario together. So without any further delay, I am going to go through a demo and show you guys this in action. Just 1 second, I will share my screen. Okie dokie. All right, so here we are. So I'm logged in as Barry Allen, support person. And now I'm going to raise a request on behalf of Wade Wilson. So within Jira Service Management, this is what you can do. If a customer just calls you up by a phone, you can raise a request on their behalf. So I'm going to go and raise this request. And Wade is going to let us know that, there's a lot of villains in the city. So there's villains. City. And I can type very well. That's all right. Cool. Now, okay. So what happens here is that we will send this request through. So Wade Wilson will get the notification that this has been raised. But now, as good old Barry Allen, I can now go back to my queue. Refresh here. And I'll see that this is the issue. So I've diagnosed this issue and I said, okay, there is actually villains in the city. They've released some crazy thing. We're going to call it a bug. So what we're going to do here is when we click on it, we can create a linked issue. And because Barry can actually work between the 2 projects, the software and the service, I'm going to create this in the Batcave project. And I'm going to go, please see this. It's crazy. Oh, if only I had copy and paste sorted. Anyway, so what's happening now is this is being created. So you'll see here that we've got our support issue here, and then you can see that it's now been raised as a bug in the software project, ready to be assigned by someone else. So in this scenario, we are logged in as the software developer, aka Diana Prince, aka Wonder Woman. So we can see here that Diana's looking at this. Okay, we need to sort that out. You can see that Barry's automatically commented and said this has been escalated from a customer, even though he didn't type anything. So Diana's going to say no worries on it. And we're going to move this to in progress. Now, what will happen is that back here for our good friend Barry, that you'll see that that's now transitioned his support ticket into in progress. And we've also added a note just to say, hey, don't worry, we're working on it. It's all good, just in case the customer's, just in case the customer is a bit worried. So here, so what we're going to do is we're actually going to say, yep, well, with most software, it'll be in progress, you go through a release process. But then when it's good to go and it passes, it can be ready to release. Now, what we've done here is that you can see it's been moved over this way. And this is where we bring in Batman or well, Bruce Wayne, I should say, aka Batman. And he's having a look here at the ticket that's being released. Now, what's happened here is that we've set up some automation that any issue that's moved into the ready to release part, if it doesn't have a version assigned to it, we've assigned a version to it. So you can see that we've got Justice League version 1. So what we'll do is we will go to the releases part of Jira software. And you can see here that I'm going to release. I'm going to release the Justice League there to save the day. And so I'll just press release there, and now that's done. So if I go back to my board, you'll see that that issue has transitioned to done, but what it has also done for the support ticket, it's also transitioned that to resolved and notified the customer as well. So it's actually made Barry's job very easy, so they can focus on fighting crime. So that's essentially the demo, just showing just part of the automations that just some of the automations that you can do between all of those products, which is pretty cool.
Just great, because automation is so important to basically take away all that non-value added time and activity that just wastes, it's administrivia really around how you actually operate and do your work.
Yeah, and we actually use this automation as well because we have our own software products that we work on. So, and we have that same scenario. So we take on support and we do that same thing. So we have a lot of fun doing that as well. All right. So what I'll do now is just move on to what's coming up in what's been coming through in Atlassian more recently. So you can see here that point A. So one of the can't miss announcements of Team 21 was point A. It's an Atlassian program designed to create new products in collaboration with their customers. According to the co-CEO of Atlassian, this is one of our biggest set of product announcements in the history. Point A is a game changer for us. It means we can deliver world-class innovation at a fast pace with our customers on cloud. Now, some of those products you can see here, Jira Work Management. So that's a rebranded version of Jira Core, and I'll go through a bit of how that works in a moment. But then there's also Team Central, which is in beta, as you can see from the screen. And from firsthand, I can tell you that it's been really cool to work with and get early access and actually work with the product teams, providing feedback, which they've implemented and notified me on as well. There's a whole heap of other products that are coming up, so I highly encourage that you check out Point A for all the upcoming cool things there. Just on Jira Work Management, though, for those who don't know about it, it's pretty much a Jira software in a sense, but better, but more designed for business teams. So Jira Work Management itself has 20 templates to choose from, which all have pre-configured workflows specifically for business teams, just saving Jira admins headaches of creating new workflows for every use case and giving users the ability to get started with Jira fast. Then teams using Jira Work Management can view their work in 4 familiar ways. So one is via a list. So when things are created, when they're due, who it's assigned to, priority, those kind of things. You have a calendar view that will show how that's looking, a timeline view, and a standard board view as well. So you can get all of that, getting all of that together. And to be honest, I've used it personally for managing some home renovations that we've been doing. So I've had a lot of stuff there. So I've had to link dependencies. I've had a timeline. I've just totally nerded out using the software. But it's been really good. The renovations have gone smoothly. So just one other thing as well. So following on to Chris's comment from earlier, for those that are in, currently in server land, and cloud or not to cloud, and if you've got hesitations about that, We've put together a white paper just to bust some top myths about moving to Atlassian Cloud, which we're giving out for free. Now it's time for Q&A.
Or even if you just want to introduce yourself and say hello.
That's cool too.
Yeah, I might start. My name is Andrew Thompson.
Oh, good day, Andrew. How you going?
All right, thanks, Chris and Ash,
Yeah.
and that was a very good presentation, mate. Yeah, I really like the service management side because I've been using Jira in some form for probably going on about 6 years now. Because obviously not every organization has that the requirement to use something of a large scale, and some of them already have like like ServiceNow for their ITSM and stuff like that they're locked into. But I've been using it for about 6 years, and I like the most of the places I've worked at have just used a Jira core, so they've just used the basic ability to raise issues and follow them through, and assign them to developers and the like. But I noticed that one of the key things that I think in the service management that you demonstrated there, Ash, was that you've got service level agreements that you can build in, or milestones, which is it's becoming ever critical. So that's really sort of giving Atlassian products the full palette to be able to, because normally, like when you're working on a project type tasks, you've got particular deadlines, but they're nothing in the sort of the same sort of thing as service level agreements, where you may have to turn them around within 24 hours, or depending on the severity, it might be a 1 hour fix or something like that. So that's something that, like, where I've been working, I wish they would have availed themselves of a little bit more. But anyway, that's a different issue. But I was just going to sort of say is that I generally use we use the full suite, including Bitbucket. And for that actually, certainly for like larger organizations, that provides us with a secure source control as well of our software and versioning. Something that is increasingly more important with like cybersecurity as well. So the actual Atlassian product, like I'll work at Home Affairs. Okay, so we've got a lot of security concerns, and we've gone with Bitbucket as part of our DevOps pipeline. So the Atlassian product's been fabulous in that respect. And I just, when you were talking about cloud, Chris, there used to be, I know like about 10 years ago, there used to be a lot of like latency with some cloud solutions. But I think when we, like where I'm working at the moment, when we start opening up Australia again in the post-COVID world, the business, a lot of businesses are going to find that their demand for these cloud services is just only going to increase, and it's not going to be on premise that we're going to be doing it. It really will be, it'll be either Atlassian, or it'll be something like AWS, where we need to get extra server power for a short term or whatever. So this is great stuff. I love this stuff. I also love all the plugins with Atlassian as well. Save a lot of money in terms of using things like Lucid Charts and all the various plugins that are available for diagramming and that. So no, it's great. We use Confluence as well. It's just our bread and butter over the last 2 years since COVID hit. We used to do a lot of face-to-face, but now we assign stuff to business people to do reviews, and they just directly go in there and do their comments and edits and provide additional documentation and everything through Confluence. So it's been great.
Andrew, you raised really good points. I'm just trying to make sure I cover off all those. So just with cloud latency, maybe 10 years ago, definitely was an issue, but I'm not sure if you're aware actually that Atlassian clouds all hosted on AWS. They are a strong partner with AWS, and one of the big performance improvements that has been done over many years now is with AWS. You have a lot of you have CloudFront and other edge locations besides where their main regions and are sitting. So you have lots of extra data centers sitting on the edge closer to where customers are. So you're actually pushing more of the content out to those edge locations. So Atlassian, regardless of wherever you are, it knows where you're coming from, and it can actually then guide you to the closest server on the edge location to actually get the cache results and speed up performance. And that's sort of an all embedded within AWS. So Atlassian are really benefiting from that. And with Confluence, yeah, absolutely. And probably actually the whole Atlassian marketplace is so rich in marketplace apps that quite often when we're working with customers, it's not just about what's the core product they need to use. And we talked about Jira Work Management, or Jira Core, Jira Service Management, or Jira Software. It's trying to make some of those decisions, but it's also what are the suite of Atlassian marketplace apps that are required. And with Confluence, one of the easiest no-brainers really is Draw.io. It's so inexpensive, but gives you all the capabilities you typically get from Visio. And
absolutely, yeah. A couple of places have been using that, and it's been great.
Yeah, absolutely. So we do our drawing and diagramming and architecture diagrams in Draw.io. Yeah, works really well. Thanks, Andrew. Be good to see you again too. I know you've come to some of our previous events, so thanks for joining us, Andrew.
Yeah, no, it's good. It's very informative, mate. Thanks.
Do you have any other further questions at all?
I actually have a question for everyone else, which is when we had our last event back in 2019, there was, I guess, interest around governance, risk and compliance, and using the Atlassian suite for managing governance, risk and compliance, and particularly with large programs of work and portfolios of work. Is that something of interest to anyone in the group here? I'm not sure if you want to speak up or chat about that, or put a message in the chat, because it certainly was one of the topics that we may set up for a future Atlassian user group. And it was the topic in early 2020, but then COVID hit and we had to cancel the event.
Yeah, no, that'd be a valid thing, because I mean it's certainly from project management perspective something that's becoming more important, especially now we're getting a lot more sort of portfolio level management.
Yep. What are the other sort of topics that are of interest to everyone?
You mentioned. I noticed that you had Philippines listed in one of your locations. A job I had a few years ago. We were working in Jira, and we one of the key teams that we had were in the Philippines, and that's sort of the ability to assign stuff to other countries, different time zones, was one of the big things that we were looking at. But also, I mean, I don't know what one of the other things that I've noticed, and there might be a solution out there in the Jira, or out there in Atlassian suite, I don't know, is that it's testing integration, because one of the bug. It's not a bugbear really, but it's just something that I've just lived with the last couple of years. Is that we've often had third-party service providers for testing, and so we get things like ALM being used for testing, or we have Azure DevOps, and it's stuff like, which we want. It might be that there's just an API that's available, I don't know, but that sort of ability to bring in third-party workers, because that's often things like for larger organizations, that's what they'll do. They won't have that exclusive body of people that are skilled up.
Yeah. What has everyone been using for test management?
I use an absolute dog's breakfast of things. Like there's ALM Octane that we use, and ALM itself, the large suite, Azure for and it just depends on whoever our client's been at the time. I mean, they all have, obviously similar things that they do, but some of the ones that are sort of emerging a little bit more, and certainly they fit in very much with the way testing's. And I'm not advocating for testing, but testing's moving very much into behavior-driven development. So you have people who are scripting Gherkin and things like that into software, and being able to actually integrate that into Jira is something that I've only had a quick little search, so I couldn't turn anything up, but I certainly think it'd be interesting. It'd be a challenge someone's already probably looked at.
Sounds like a great topic for an upcoming user group.
Yeah, well, it's automation testing. I mean, especially if you want to push out software fairly quick, you don't want to have to do regression testing of 80% of your functionality, and unfortunately we often do where I've worked.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks, Andrew.
I'm sure if you can hear me. It's Sudarshan here from India, and great demo, Ash. I just jumped in, and I was actually we just went in for Jira Service Management for our CX team recently, so it was like awesome. So that's why I just wanted to come down to your session and have a look. And I had some internet issues, but maybe I was just thinking for if you can show quickly how this SLA is actually done, or you can send me a link also.
Yeah, for sure. That's what I was. I know I had my screen sharing before. I was Googling, so I was getting that link for you.
Yeah, I did see that, but yeah. Thank you.
But no, so look, as far as SLAs, I just also had to log out, log back in because it's a system administration piece. But with service level agreements, you can just go into the project, and by default, there is time to resolution and time to response, which are the most default SLAs. Now you can go in and edit these ones to kind of have what your goals are, what JQL is related to as well. So it could be that you've got an organization that you need to have, it's like an hour SLA for a first response. So you might need to create one for them specifically. But this is where you can go in and do, add those SLAs in there. As I said, I'll shoot some links through just around the basics. But there's also, depending on how granular you need for your SLAs as well, there are also marketplace apps that can give kind of extra level if there's certain rules or those kind of things that you need, which I've had to implement for some customers before. So but at the very basic level, it's just under the project settings in administration and under SLAs, and then you can just go from there. And I definitely recommend testing it out in a demo product, so you can a demo project, so that way you can have a go at that, see how that works for you.
And we use SLAs quite extensively, and I think this is where Ash's demo around automation actually is really important, because it's important to be able to automate those SLAs and escalations as well. So yeah, this is where there's lots of different functionality across Jira that if you piece it together, you can get some real good magic happening.
Yeah, that is very simple. I think we don't need to put a lot of effort. I can just bring the team and start creating this. And for your question, Chris, I've been working with X-ray test for quite a long time. So
yeah,
and it's like built in our Git and Jira and all stuff. So that's something which we use for testing.
Thanks, Atlassian. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
So this is from Tim.
Tim, yep.
He says, worked in a few places that have set up Jira awfully, and unfortunately has made it difficult for staff to use as far as implementation goes. What's the main thing people should concentrate when setting up or implementing properly?
Yeah, I think my biggest thing is foundations first. So definitely, and it's probably one of the more complex items, but really defining user roles from a product access level and administration, but also a project level as well. So that way you've got the right people accessing the right things. It's probably one of the first core foundations there. That way you can establish who has appropriate access to, say, create projects or edit workflows or those kind of things. Because if everybody gives everybody administration access, say, people can go in, create all kinds of craziness. And I've gone into Jira systems before where I see like there's 70 odd workflows that aren't even used, and there's copies of copies, and it could be all kinds of craziness there. So that's probably it. Just more going in with a plan, especially if you're looking to set that up for a team that's bigger than just yourself. Yeah, definitely looking at that structure there first, and then all the cool automations and stuff can come later.
And yeah, just adding to that, Atlassian products are very configurable and very flexible to anyone's requirements, but you can get into a bit of a mess quickly if you allow lots of people to be able to configure what they want. It's a bit like that old the meme about Homer Simpson car. If you let everyone else design it, it just starts to look like a bit of a mess. So it's about having an architecture up front, particularly when it comes to reporting requirements you may have at the end.
Yeah.
Or in the case of enterprise portfolio requirements across a suite of projects, then it's good to be able to have some standardization.
Yeah. And part of the other thing as well is that because it is quite flexible, you'll have your own ways of working as an organization, as a team. So Jira can help model that as well. So it's just more around planning how that's going to best suit you.
Oh. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks again, everyone.
Thank you, guys.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.